Hey, welcome to our Smarkamania review of the Royal Rumble 2015. So before we get into the podcast proper, we decided to try something a little different where we turned on the recorder at the end of the Rumble just to get like our live reactions to how things went down. So the first few minutes of this podcast are our live befuddlement at what happened in this pay-per-view. And then we'll get into the real podcast after that.
Maybe the Big Show gets his final fucking nail in the coffin heel move.
No, you're not going to eliminate Bray Wyatt.
Don't get eliminated by the most boring people.
Reigns is going to win. This is disappointing.
Or Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
No, Big Show and Kane, final two.
Oh my god.
Man, who the
Ambrose
fuck thought
and
having Kane and Big Show in the Final Four is good at, like, what the fuck?
Nobody wants any of these people to win.
No, it's true.
This is like last year, right? Like, they always pick the worst guy to win.
Yep.
That everyone
I can't imagine. This is got to be a terrible fucking winner. They're going to fucking...
No,
they're going to get
no, it's
this whole crowd.
Reigns. Reigns is gonna fucking overcome the odds, Cena style. Here comes the first moment of the 10 years of Roman
It
Reigns.
doesn't even matter. This crowd's going to go wild.
Kane's gonna turn on Big Show.
This crowd's going to fucking turn on this Rumble.
Big Show.
They already are.
Bullshit.
They turned on this Rumble.
Where's Sting? Where's Sting?
That's awesome though. Like, they're chanting bullshit, and Big Show's like, yeah, whatever. But like, it's not about that. It's about Reigns winning. Like, obviously.
Oh, oh man, this is terrible.
This really does suck.
Yeah.
This is a huge letdown.
They really should have.
I was getting excited for this Rumble, and this is fucking terrible.
The title match should have been last to clear this nonsense.
Yes.
With everyone.
Like they're just listen to the crowd.
No,
Like, they're
we're just gonna get stinged.
This can't be.
And the winner of the match.
Oh my god.
This can't be. They're booing. No, are you serious?
Why do they try to push people like this? Like, it never works. Why are they
They're
doing this?
booing the shit out. That's fucking bullshit. Look at this reaction.
That is amazing. Though.
This represents everything I hate about WWE.
Seriously, right? From now on, New Japan only. We're done with this.
This is the Royal Rumble.
I want to go like watch
to a worst pay-per-view I've ever
This is a terrible. This cannot end like this.
This really might be the shittiest Rumble. I mean, how's the Rumble?
Even Rock's like, I can't save this.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck this. I can't do this. I'm booing The Rock.
I mean, you gotta respect the crowd. Yeah, I love this crowd.
Yeah.
This is probably the best crowd I've ever.
I mean, they
Rusev.
He never got
You never got eliminated. That's what
You said that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said that.
Please, Rusev.
please, Rusev, win the fucking match.
Do it, Rusev. Have something go from the worst Rumble to like the weirdest one ever.
This is still the weirdest one ever.
This is the best one ever.
No.
Curtis Axel, it's not too late.
Yeah, it's serious.
No.
They're just writing Curtis Axel off. It's like, that's the thing, is that Slot's taking over.
When you hear this in the future, you're going to hear my disdain for the human race. And when you hear that, you're going to know that you got to believe that, you suffering succotash.
That's a shitty pay-per-view.
Yeah, we were like, oh, the internet always complains, and then we're like, oh, this sucks.
That's not gonna be pretty.
Well, did they ask for it when they eliminated Daniel Bryan, like number 10, 11?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like, they were just saying, like, fuck you, like, that's it.
This is insane. They're like you're not allowed to like Daniel Bryan. You need to like this jerk.
Yeah, well, I actually had high hopes for this Royal Rumble, and, like, it was bad.
It was, I will say it's the worst.
It was
Yeah.
a shitty Royal Rumble. Probably one,
I can't think of a
I would
worse
say
Rumble.
probably one of the worst Royal Rumbles in history.
Yeah.
Even worse than, like, last year's wasn't that great, but it still beat this shit out. I hate Randy Orton. I fucking wish he came back.
We didn't see Papa Shango.
No Papa Shango.
I'm gonna do it like I'm interviewing everyone, so I'll just point it at who's talking.
Even fucking The Undertaker returned. Like,
Am I going to run down this?
Zack Ryder fucking returned. That's how bad that shit was. Shit, man. The Z True Hollywood Story returned.
All right, Smarkamania episode 7. Let's do quick introductions. I'm Keith.
I'm the Iron Greek, Alex.
Mike? Yeah, I'm Jason.
Jason Sensation.
Ben.
I'm Craig. All right, so usually we go through these things chronologically. We'll get to that, but we got people that can't necessarily stay for our 8-hour fucking breakdown. So let's just do...
It's going to be an 8-hour breakdown, and don't you get it twisted, because it's 2015, and it's the new year for Smarkamania. And as the number one Smarkamania champion, who I've been trying desperately for weeks and weeks and months to take away from Keith... Well, maybe this week on Smarkamania we do not have the outcome that you necessarily want as a wrestling fan. And just as a side note, remember Wrestle Kingdom 9? Smarkamaniacs? You're not going to remember that anymore, and I know that you don't because of what happened on this pay-per-view.
Well, okay, let's go around real quick. Yay or nay to the Royal Rumble?
Oh, definitely a nay.
Nay. Nay.
Nay. It was terrible. Like, partway through, we were like, oh, the internet's gonna think this sucks, but fuck the internet. Like, we're fun wrestling fans. We think wrestling's fun, and we still like it. And then by the end, we're like, what the fuck was that? This is fucking terrible.
Partway through, I thought that we had the ability to turn it around. But we got a bunch of nothing matches that went literally nowhere. And then we got to the Rumble, and we were all sure that this is it, man. Like, all these guys that have a part of this Rumble have a really decent shot, especially when, Eric Rowan came out in place of Curtis Axel, and Curtis Axel is...
started on Curtis Axel.
Yeah, see, that was the beginning of we were sold a false bill of goods tonight, and it began, I believe, with a young man named Curtis Axel. You want to talk about this, Craig?
Yeah, so what's his name? I don't know, the Bray Wyatt's friend. Curtis Axel gets called out, and this other guy just knocks him out right at the gate, and then goes and takes his place. So Curtis Axel was never officially eliminated. The whole time, I thought Curtis Axel was going to come back, not win it necessarily, but he really got the shaft. They just took it from him. He still hasn't been eliminated yet.
As we speak. That was one thing, man. I was impressed with this Philly crowd. Like, they weren't putting up with the bullshit of this match. And even though, like, Rusev got falsely eliminated, so they were chanting, "We want Rusev" at the end. Imagine, though, if they had chanted, "We want Axel."
I just kind of felt like we were all the Goonies and we never found the treasure.
It got so sad, right, by the end, as it keeps, like, whittling down more and more. Of course, my weird prediction was Undertaker. That never happened. But as it gets down to the final four, and it's like fucking Big Show and Kane against Reigns and Ambrose, and I'm like, okay, like, you're desperately searching for an answer. You're like, Ambrose maybe? And then he gets eliminated, and you're like, there's nothing left. But I didn't realize Rusev got fake eliminated, so I was like, Rusev? No.
But like you hear at the top of this, where we all have our live reaction to the event, you'll hear how disappointed we were for even, like, if you went back a little bit further, you would hear, like, the final 15, you would hear the final 10, and we're all just like, oh, okay, well, I guess it makes sense that this guy could win. And literally everybody just keeps getting eliminated that we want to be fan favorites, to the point that when it comes down to a bunch of jobbers, like mid-carder dudes, and the run-home winner of this Royal Rumble, who will be revealed later.
In case you get your wrestling updates from our podcast.
Then
You get my wrestling information from this podcast, Smarkamania, by the way.
So you know that some Asian guy won Wrestle Kingdom 9.
then you're truly going to find out that the result of the Royal Rumble this year, were like, they called it on internet. If you went onto the internet in the last 2 months, you know who won this.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's like, you remember when it was Rocky Maivia, right? And the blue chipper, and they're trying to push him down everyone's throat, and it didn't work. How come they never realized that doesn't work? Because they're doing the exact same thing with his nephew cousin, and it's not working.
They're also doing it with the Ascension, is what I feel like.
I don't know what they're doing with the Ascension. We'll get to that, though.
I think it's just a matter of time before old Neff Cuz gets, like, the fucking limelight. I think he really will take over.
Nefkuz?
Yeah, Neff Cuz.
Nefkes Reigns, that's his new name. Yeah, you know what I think is, I've never even been huge into Daniel Bryan, because I came in when he was already doing the yeses. I didn't get to see the whole build, so I never really felt the love. But that's where it went wrong, right? When he got eliminated, it never came back from there.
No, and they didn't mention him again in the Royal Rumble. The fact of the matter remains that Daniel Bryan spoilers, gets eliminated fucking midway through this entire match.
What? Not even midway. I'd say right, like number 10, 11, 12. Like, he's out there very early getting eliminated, which sucks the life out of this fucking great Philly crowd.
Yeah. And the double part that sucks about it is you sort of have like a roster of guys in your repertoire that you want to win. No matter if you're a Smark, if you're a Mark, if you are a Smart fan, like even if you're Dave Meltzer, you're like, hey, I know that somebody's got to win this. But the problem with what happened during this is they pushed the Bray Wyatt sort of, I'm the guy that's going to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin, just eliminate people as they come into the ring. And then we almost called it immediately. It was almost like a situation where a guy who could not win it came in and Bray Wyatt was still left, and then they started to pile up. Like, we sort of had a car crash right in the middle of this.
You know, I think that's what's double annoying about Roman Reigns is... Like, I remember when Kane eliminated, like, 11 people. It was cool. I was still watching wrestling back then. I watched it at some shitty sports bar in New Brunswick, and everybody was like, oh, cool, he's still with the mask. And we're like, even at that point, Kane was played out. But we're like, oh, it's nice to see Kane beat a bunch of people in 2002 or whatever. And then last year, Roman Reigns eliminated 12 people just so he could top the record. And then a year later, now he wins the Rumble. It's like, stop trying to make me like this guy.
And JBL, you hear him say, and he still has the record. So he also eliminated 12 guys.
Yeah.
So for the next year, we have to hear about how he was the Royal Rumble winner and also the guy who still holds the title for the amount of men eliminated in a Royal Rumble.
And I think what I love so much is how, so it became clear that Roman Reigns was going to win. That's when you know things are sad. And I'm like, what if Kane won? Like, just for something else to happen. But they obviously knew that everyone was going to think this sucked because then The Rock comes out just to remind everyone that he's tangentially related to Roman Reigns. And it didn't work at all.
So,
At what point do you think they realized that this is just a failed pay-per-view and they need a savior?
I don't know. It's so weird, too, because they did...
Tuesday.
Like the Survivor Series pay-per-view was the last big one, and it was so well booked. You know, they're like, all right, we got to get people to buy this network, and we're going to have Sting, and we're going to have all this cool shit happen. And this time they're just like,
huge spoiler alert, no Sting.
Yeah, no Sting.
Yeah. Which was, okay, no Sting, but I think what really hit home to me was, like, when The Rock came out. The Rock can't even save the crowd.
I know.
And when The Rock can't save the crowd, you know that your pay-per-view is, like, shitty and is going to go down as one of the worst Royal Rumbles in the history of WWE,
and
in my opinion.
I give huge points, too, to this crowd. Like, I always knew, like, New York and New Jersey crowds were total dicks, and I didn't realize Philly was...
And Chicago, CM Punk, best in the world!
Detroit can also. Yeah. The Midwest crowds are also pretty good, but, like, when I was watching this, like, the Philly crowd, they're assholes. They're chanting bullshit. They're chanting this, but they're also smart fans. They know what they want and what the internet wants, but WWE didn't even get anyone what they wanted. Not even the John Cena fans got what they wanted on this one.
And that was, I guess, if we're going to look at the silver lining. It was so awesome that after Roman Reigns won, it was like a straight 2 minutes of just solid booze. Like, there was not unequivocal booze.
Which leads me to ask, you think that's a silver lining?
Well, in a way, because, like, history will always show that this is nonsense, you know?
The way that I keep thinking about this particular Royal Rumble is where the Royal Rumble after WrestleMania 30, which was a very good card. It was very good, like, top to bottom. They told us every match was going to happen. And then you get to the Royal Rumble the following year to set up a WrestleMania, and you have no matches announced. You have no indication of any, like, sort of, oh, maybe this match will be announced on the card. You announce matches that are, like, two divas versus two divas, a former tag team champion versus a tag team champion. You have literally a kickoff show that really, at the end of the day, I think the kickoff show means more to me than even the Royal Rumble match itself, because we got to see Tyson Kidd and Cesaro go over New Day, which is actually something that makes a lot of sense and is good for the future of those two individuals. But then you get to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, or the match itself, and you really, like, we got a really entertaining, like, lead up, like 35 minutes of it were really, like, fun. Like, you know, Bubba Ray Dudley comes back.
Yeah, that was cool. I guess that's the thing. Not only it was after, I mean, Daniel Bryan was a good point. It wasn't necessarily that he got eliminated, but around that point, we started doing the math of like, well, here's all the people that need to come back. So that fills most of the spots, and there's no way anything cool is going to happen. And then even obvious cool things like Orton and Sheamus or whatever, they didn't even happen.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trick you all into being a part of this podcast at this point. I'm going
Well, what we should do, while everybody's still here, make sure we get everybody. Let's say, who did you wish won the Rumble? Alex.
Personally, I wish that Rusev would have won the Royal Rumble. It makes sense because he is probably the best heel that they have on the roster right now. And what better way than to have Rusev at WrestleMania versus what? The All-American, let's say, not Jack Swagger, John Cena. Yeah. Would have been a great freaking card to have on there. I personally thought Rusev should have won it, not Roman Reigns.
Wow, that must have really hurt too, because that almost happened. Like, that could have actually happened. That was so close.
That almost happened, and I am a pro-Russian Federate. If you didn't know that already. I grew up in that communist regime, so I was kind of hoping for Rusev to win. No bias intentions. No, but I think that Rusev is the best heel that they have. Why not win? Why not have a heel win the biggest freaking event of the year? Go against John Cena at WrestleMania 30 without the title, and that would pique my interest mostly. But that's just me.
How long did you live there? When did you move?
I lived there for about a year. I don't remember much of it. There was a lot of drug abuse and alcohol and vodka, but that's a different time period in my life.
Man, drug abuse and alcohol and also drug abuse is great.
I thought this was a wrestling podcast, not an intervention podcast.
I was going to ask just because I was here like how like if you grew up in Russia, you had to play DOS games that were 10 years behind the time. So I was wondering if all your wrestling was like a decade back.
Nikolai Kolov is my hero. Not going to lie. So.
All right, Mike, if you were a booker, who would you have win?
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious, right?
I mean, going into Mania, Bryan Lesnar. If you know Lesnar is the champion going to Mania, you want your most over wrestler on the roster in the main event.
And that was another thing. This crowd was so great. After Daniel Bryan got eliminated, they were just chanting, "We want Daniel Bryan," or whatever the fuck they said. Like, they definitely made it clear they liked him. I would
prefer Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. Like, I thought Daniel Bryan would be a boring answer, but a far less boring answer than what they did.
He just came off injury, came back. He has the redemption angle.
Right.
There's some stuff going there. Like.
Yeah. I mean, surely this is going somewhere. I hope with Daniel Bryan. I don't know.
Really, when you get to the end of it,
and of course, podcasts are really interviews with Jason. So, Jason, who would you have win?
Well, to continue what I was saying, me and Michael Jean, which is what I'm going to start calling you, Keith, which is your name. Look, honestly, I think like if they would have went with any of the people that they had expected to go with earlier today, like at 3:00 this afternoon when they were in the board meeting, being like, okay, who do we have win this and how do we make this card go? And we already have this card that we've written, and it's going to be totally fine if everybody gets it. And I think Vince just walks in and said, damn it, we just do the original card that I wrote down myself last night.
I got lost in Roman Reigns' eyes as early as this morning. Yep. He has to be the man. That's the thing. It's not like they're starved for people. Like, Daniel Bryan is crazy over. Ziggler is probably only half as over, but that's still fucking over.
To answer your question, though...
Oh, and Randy Orton. Remember when he left?
Oh, my God.
He was so over right before he left. Any of those guys.
He was just coming off a face and then into a heel run. They didn't even bring back Sheamus or Randy Orton, and I never thought that I would hate not seeing them on fucking wrestling pay-per-view. But to give you my true and full answer as to who I thought that I wanted to win, and this is me who I wanted to win, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is my favorite wrestler right now. Besides Seth
that doesn't hurt as much as Rusev, but almost, because he's Final Four. He could have won. There's no reason he couldn't have won.
One of my best friends in the world, his favorite wrestler right now is Rusev, but I wanted, like, we didn't even get Rusev in my pick for the Iron Man. Like, he kind of just came out and did his part there. And that's the same thing they did with Ambrose. That's the same thing they did with Luke Harper, like, right back to the beginning. And I'm really pissed off at how anticlimactic, at the end of the day, this whole thing was. especially with no build up.
Like the first half, I mean, this is coming from a guy who, like I said, has a Wyatt family wallet, but I liked the first half of the Rumble, and then it really fell apart. So, Ben, what would you do if you worked for WWE and they're like, you know what, you've been a good employee, we'll do whatever you want. Who do you want to win the Rumble?
I'd come down as a blue blazer.
I like it. How are you going to make this happen? Natalia in an outfit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Keep it in the family, dude. Like, seriously, like that is one throwback that everybody wants and nobody thinks about. Like, it's at the back of everyone's mind. Like, we watched tonight was a lot of hopes and dreams that never actually.
You're fucking smart.
What the fuck are we watching right now? Is that
Royal Rumble 2012.
Oh, I was gonna say, is that Justin Gabriel? Like, what is happening? It's all the same people from the Rumble, except some guy who I know is not in the Rumble.
Seriously though, we were all hoping for things that never happened. That is what sums up Royal Rumble 2015.
And I picked a random Rumble, and here we are, back where we've...
Stardust before he was Stardust.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
The Miz succeeding.
Yeah, man.
So if I had to be a tough manager and really in, I'm like, all right, listen, I understand that you love the Blue Blazer, but we can't do that. Here's the 30 people that are going to be in the Rumble. Which one would you pick of these people? Including Zack Ryder. You can have it. It's fine.
If I can have Zack Ryder, I'm going to pick Stevie Ray. Fucking Harlem Heat, motherfucker.
You know what? I'll take it. There's no reason why Stevie Ray shouldn't have won the 2015 Rumble. There's no reason. Totally. So, Craig, you were going into this big Goldust fan. How you doing?
I'm going to stand by that as the most casual fan in the room, and I didn't know who half the people were wrestling. So Stardust came in, was doing fine. Goldust comes in. We expect them to team up and like kind of clear the ring and you know be on each other's side for a while. Stardust immediately turned on Goldust, and what I would have liked to see happen is when that happened, Booker T gets down from the announcer's table, runs down the ring to help Goldust out, maybe beat the shit out of Stardust. Something like that.
He wasn't even at the announce table, too. He was at the like comment or whatever. Yeah, like, he mightn't have been in a different city, so he'd have to get on a plane. But he would show up by the end of the Rumble.
Yeah, I will say that's where Goldust rubs off his makeup, and he is Stevie Ray.
Genius. Let me ask you this. This is a little bit of a different thing, but as a huge Goldust fan, Craig, have you seen much Stardust? How'd you feel about Stardust?
I like him. Except for the turning on his brother. That was bullshit. What a dick.
That is. And that's one of the few true life, actual half-brothers in wrestling. They're not it's not some Edge and Christian bullshit. That's for real. Because I was trying to get my friend Matt back into wrestling because he loves Goldust also. And I was like, there's a little Goldust now. You should watch. And he's like, yeah, I got a girlfriend. I'm busy. I'm like, all right.
Marlena.
That's usually what happens. You got a girlfriend, you're busy. Yep. Wrestling becomes secondary.
Turns out he was right, though.
Not in my life.
Yeah. Also, I would have liked to see Lita in the Royal Rumble. That would have been nice. I always had a soft spot for her.
Better as the number 30 of spots, in my opinion.
Has there ever been a woman in the Rumble? Was China ever in?
China was definitely in the Rumble.
Showed a clip of China earlier.
And Karma, too.
Yeah,
Karma was in the Rumble.
I think that's how she debuted. She's back on TNA.
She is TNA.
Yeah.
What's her name on TNA? I forgot. There was
King Kong. Awesome Kong. Awesome King Kong.
That's racist, Jason.
Why do you say that about me? King Kong is her name. Fuck. So, here's what we're going to do now. Since I've got you guys all on the panel, I'm going to run down this card.
Is this a Legends panel?
This is a Legends panel.
This is our first. We always wanted to have a schmoz cast where there's too many people for it to even make sense, and then people keep going home. This is our first true schmoz
this
cast.
This is a Legends panel.
I'm going to go home.
And what we decided is most people who don't want to be in the schmoz cast are going to now be in the schmoz cast. But I think my vibrato got too big for my britches, and I thought that, you know, one of the secondary podcasts where we review the new pay-per-views, like the new WWE pay-per-views. So we do that as like a secondary program. But then I was like, oh yeah, we have 6 episodes.
But there's really, I don't know that there's 6 episodes worth of material in this pay-per-view.
No, I don't mean this episode particularly. I mean overall. But what I'm going to get...
Mick Foley?
Yeah,
the 2012 Rumble is clearly better than the 2015
don't
Rumble.
look at it and listen to me run down the matches.
Just look away.
For this particular...
Yeah, every time I...
WWE Network for fucking Mick Foley in Rumble 2012.
Every time I look...
I want to see RoboCop wrestle. Is that a thing?
Yeah, can we just watch Capital Carnage 1990 and forget this whole
We can if you just let me run down this match, because we're doing this in reverse.
Okay.
The pre-show, the kickoff, if you will, had a bunch of schmas. They were all talking to each other. Renee Young looked great. I did not write that down. However,
You need to write that one down.
If anyone's got the network, go back to the end of 2014 NXT show where they recap the stuff that happened that year, and it was just Renee Young and the guy with the tattoos talking.
Corey Graves.
And they were just talking, and she's never looked hotter. It was amazing.
Which is the next point that I'm getting to. Corey Graves, he was out there.
Yeah, I feel good for him. I'm glad he got an announcer job because he, got all busted up.
And everybody expected him to be the next CM Punk. He's the tattoo guy, he's the punk rock guy, and he put on some great matches in FCW and NXT.
Man, it really is sad for that guy. But being an announcer is not easy, and he's good at it, so that's cool.
Well, the way that I've been thinking about it is did they say, oh, you can't wrestle anymore based on the doctors, but we will give you the ability to talk on camera and on live recording? It's really good. And at the beginning of this, I saw him sort of be apprehensive to really go over for himself. But, he ended up doing that. Anyway, what it really comes down to, my favorite match of Royal Rumble 2015 was the Uppercats, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus New Day. Guys,
The pre-show.
this guy right here was the only guy here. How did you feel about that pre-match? I know it was a long time ago.
It was a good match to start the pay-per-view off. I mean, it wasn't the worst, that's for sure. I mean,
That's true, yes.
It does seem weird it wasn't on the show because the first couple, 2-3 matches were really lame.
The audience...
And that's another thing. That match could have been on the card opposed to the women's tag match. I mean...
They built up the this match more than they built up the women's tag match, because I thought it was going to be a tag match for the women's title.
Well, and the way, how this pay-per-view started lame is that I'm like, I wonder what Jason's going to say next, because I honestly don't remember what they were. I'm like, he'll remind me about these fucking matches.
Yeah, it was the Bellas versus Natalia and Paige.
I enjoyed that match. I'm just saying. It was probably because, Paige.
Yeah, I really do like Paige. The one episode of Total Divas I watched this season, I mean, she's delightful. She's pretending to drug Natalia and stuff. She's great.
So the audience actually got into the opening match. I think they were more into that match than they were for a majority of the matches on the card, because as the night went on, it was sort of like, I paid for this, I paid for this, I paid for this, the Royal, really, they put the championship match before the Rumble, god damn.
They love Roman Reigns so much. It doesn't make any sense. What the fuck? Brock Lesnar actually wrestles for the first time in 18 weeks, and they don't think that's the main event?
But really, to just boil it down, Tyson Kidd wins by doing a fisherman's suplex slam sort of thing, which was totally awesome.
I was going to say, you fucking shrugged that off right now. You loved it when it happened.
Yeah, we all marked out as fuck for it.
Good. It was pretty good.
Now, just take a quick sidestep. All that scotch that I put in my vodka mudslide is starting to hurt my belly. So, Craig, how's your belly feeling? You ate too much pizza at lunch.
It's doing fine.
Feeling better?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to get that in between.
Kayfabe tonight?
I just want to break up the podcast a little. We have a little wrestling, we have a little belly report.
Well, tonight, what happened is that you guys came... the belly report. As tonight, you guys came into the room and we were getting into the first match. And it was the New Age Outlaws versus the Ascension.
Oh, okay. Well, at this point, yeah, I feel like this is where we're getting in deep, right? So
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you got okay. Any final words, Craig, before you go?
Goldust.
Yeah. And, well, you became a bit of a Curtis Axel fan tonight because of his...
Just because I wasn't that I was a fan, I just, it seemed like they were setting him up to be a surprise comeback. Everyone's going to forget that he never actually came into the ring.
It was some bullshit, right? He got hit in the head, and then he's just done. He just never came back. It sucked.
Well, Jerry the King Lawler had the same thing when Shawn Michaels pulled him out from under the ring. What's keeping Curtis Axel from crawling to this under the ring and just coming back out at the end and just eliminating Rusev after he eliminates fucking Rusev?
About 50 minutes.
What if these people come and win the Rumble in 2020 and it retroactively changes the results?
Let's cut it right here.
Yeah, you want to take a little break?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right, part 2 of the podcast. So I mixed scotch with vodka mudslide and mud shake. I had both kinds.
Yeah, did you get a little hurt in your tum-tum?
Yeah, very bad. Here's when you hear the secret spoiler. So you guys, so I guess we should say that Ben and Craig have departed for their homes. So.
Yeah, they decided that talking about Royal Rumble 2015 would be a terrible idea, and they got out while they still could.
So yeah, I drank all these dumb mudslide things with scotch in them, and it felt pretty bad. So I was like, well, you know what'll help me not think about that is I'll just smoke some weed. And and then I was like, you know what? I think I better just go to the washroom and just do whatever is going to happen in there. Now here's the super sad secret: I didn't make it. I started like going blind halfway to your bathroom, and just right like to this little side area where your furnace is. I just I slumped there for a moment, and everyone was still in here. I could hear them talking and laughing. I'm like, all right, everything's fine. I'll just wait till I can see again, and then I went to the bathroom. I mean, compared to that, I feel amazing right now. So maybe I'll talk less, and also since Craig left, no more pizza updates is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's get into the actual wrestling.
So the New Age Outlaws fought the Ascension.
Yeah, that's what we were saying before. Okay, so the Ascension. What the fuck is going on, man? Like, I mean, I always thought they were kind of goofy, but I still liked them. But they have been getting the shaft on Raw. It's nuts.
The Ascension have been typically doing the typical thing that a typical Legends versus old school guys, Legends versus new school guys would happen to do. I'm sort of thrown off right now. So any of this that I say that is not worthy of being on the podcast, I'm sort of going meta real quick. I really just want to get it back to the the original point that we were talking about. And that was Billy Gunn doing the tilt-a-whirl scram. God damn it. The tilt-a-whirl slam.
Man, that's the thing is, so he did that on Raw last week, right? And I was like, yeah, that's a beautiful move. Like, it brought back all those fucking days of the
and it looked super powerful.
Yeah.
Like, he was able to pick a guy up and just slam him down like he was still, 20, 25.
And almost like some beacon in the sky, like some fucking northern star is... First match was Billy Gunn, so that brought to mind memories of the Tilt-a-Whirl Slam. At the very end, Roman Reigns did one toward the end of the Rumble, and it sucked balls.
That's true, but unfortunately, Road Dogg had the back of his neck tattooed.
Right.
Back of his head.
Oh, you didn't know?
So, yeah, let's go. So, Road Dogg. We had some big Road Dogg fans in the room, because, honestly, I was not that into him. I don't know.
No, I wasn't in the Road Dogg either. That's not...
You look so, sheepdoggish. I kind of like them.
Listen, I like Road Dogg via 1999, and he was great, by the way, on that one, with the full head of hair and everything like that. However, Road Dogg in the 2015 Royal Rumble, tag team match, you can see the age. It's not looking good for him.
You should instead of the shake, rattle, and roll, which sucked anyway, but he should just start doing the twist or whatever, going back further and further.
He should do
Alex, hold up, come here for a second. Can you do a quick impression for me?
Yeah, I can. Which one?
Can you do Christopher looking?
Could you repeat that? Which one?
Yeah, that impersonation was so bad. No one could even tell what words you said.
Christopher looking.
What?
Christopher Walken.
I could do Christopher Walken. Give me 1 second here. Now I'm put on the spot. I probably can't fucking do that. No, let's see what's it. The fire. The fire is what's crazy about the fucking Rumble. Yeah, I can't do it right now.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Jack. I can do a better impression of you than you can do.
We're coming from you, censor.
This is the best or worst podcast we've ever done. Who could say?
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, there was his meta. It's because the Rumble was the worst Rumble, so we're doing the worst.
We should do the worst Rumble, the worst podcast of 2015, because they gave us the worst Rumble of 2015. Jason?
So the New Age Outlaws do a classic promo. The Ascension win with the Fall of Man.
Yeah, they didn't seem. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just I hate it when they give me nothing to latch on to.
That's true.
So the next thing we see is literally Triple H and Stephanie doing their backstage shtick. Triple H hints that Nikolai Volkov...
They've watched the Ascension match and they both just go, shrug.
Let's go on television. So Triple H hints that Nikolai Volkov will be in the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah, it's like he's in the parking lot. People told me, but no one said shit about someone else.
Yeah, that's so true. He's like, no one said shit about this guy who should be in the Rumble.
Who was even? Oh, Sting. I was like,
He's talking about Sting. He's like, no one was talking about Sting, but they were talking about Nikolai Volkov, which was basically a shot at every like internet fan out there, being like, you think you know everything? We're gonna give you the shittiest Rumble since 2004.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Introducing first, your champions, the Usos, facing their opponents, Damien Mizdow and The Miz. So basically, at the end of the day, fucking Mizdow just does all of his spots. It's really hard to say who's sick of his shtick and who isn't, because the crowd fucking goes wild when they do the Miz goes up and says, "My arms are in the air," and then boo, and then Mizdow goes and does that same thing, and of course it's cheers.
Man, you know what this is like? You know those like fish who get like parasites that eat their tongues, and then the parasite becomes a new tongue?
I'm very familiar with that.
Right. It's well, because like again, like once Mizdow's on his own, he doesn't have any like signature maneuvers. He has cheering after the Miz.
But ask yourself, if you were the stunt double, and I'm doing air quotations, to a person who is awful, would you do a similar spot to this? Would you, after your tag team partner gets knocked off the top rope onto the turnbuckle, the nut shot or whatever, fucking, what do you call that? The nut punch? Whatever. Okay, at any rate, and then Mizdow climbs to his corner's top rope and just falls nuts first, or balls first.
Yeah, there's a lot of setup just to hurt his own dick.
Yep. That's why Mizdow is so over right now, because it's meta.
And that's the thing, is I feel like Mizdow's become this big, huge fish, and the Miz is his weird little tongue parasite. Like, you can't get rid of the Miz, or this whole fucking thing doesn't even work anymore. It can't feed itself. It's the perfect metaphor.
As the night goes on, we do sort of see a dissension among the ranks. So, basically, at the end of the day, the fucking Usos win.
The enthusiasm is amazing. 5 stars on iTunes. Please.
Yeah, here's 5 stars on iTunes for you dumb craps.
That's the new official name if we ever make a t-shirt. If we have Patreon fans, dumb craps.
So, I don't know if anybody will ever remember this match in history, because it's kind of this part of the show where you're supposed to go pee. It's the Bellas. But they're not the Bellas anymore. No, they're Nikki Bella and they're Brie Bella, and they have to go up against...
I'll get you, my pretty. Yeah, they're the evil versions.
Natalia. That's actually what they played before Natalia's music. And Paige.
Right, so I had to take notes for the start of this one, because Jason was indisposed. And,
no, because I told you to. Because I said, you better take some notes right now, before this Sunday.
But I was very pleased that they played Paige's music, because I really like her song, and I don't like Nikki Bella's song, and I'm neutral to cold on Natalia's song. So I liked that they played Paige's, and then I wrote this match is like 2 real wrestlers versus 2 fake wrestlers, because like with the Bellas, like I'll give them credit, they wrestle better than they have any need to, but they obviously weren't hired for that. They were hired because they're hot twins, and the fact that they can wrestle like they can, awesome. But compared to Paige and Natalia, they fucking blow.
But you missed out on the part where Paige does the sexy stuff.
Oh yeah. Does that tie into her lesbian storyline from Total Divas?
But during this match, Natalia pulls off a full-on Frankensteiner.
Very nice.
What were you asking me about Divas?
There's some kind of, I don't know, like Next Week on Total Divas. I didn't see it, but it's like the one...
Yeah, but I'm not caught up on the Divas, man.
The old leathery diva who I've never seen on TV has... she tries to kiss Paige, and Paige is like, oh, no, sorry,
Which
mate.
Which leathery diva?
Rosa?
Rosa?
Yeah, I've never seen her on TV ever.
I've never seen her as leathery.
Wait, is she the one with Fandango?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I've seen her on TV. I take it back. I saw her tonight.
Yeah, you saw her tonight. She came out and was like, doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle.
But anyway, yeah, Paige was like, no, sorry, mate. Oh, no, lesbian.
Yeah. Nikki Bella fucking wins the tag team match. Did I even point out that it was a tag team match, or...
No, you did not.
Well, it was the tag team match between those guys. And it ended with a punch. Nikki Bella fucking...
The classic punch to the face.
Yep, the old punch to the face.
Yeah, it really
Big Show
was.
was,
It was Big Show's finisher. It was so weird.
It was WMD, Weapons of Mass Destruction, and it was, performed on a 5'4" woman, which doesn't have the same effect as the Big Show, who's 7'1".
So this is the first part of the program where we start to get worried, like what match is going to happen next, and that's when they start throwing the promos at us, like the Royal Rumble style promos at us. And you remember that, of course, because
it was just the straight on videos of like 6 guys in a row just boringly talking about what they think. That was terrible.
We all agreed at that time, though, that we all underestimated Fandango's chances.
It was great though. Daniel Bryan showed up and he's like, "I'm going to make it to like 14 for sure tonight."
Well, if you listen to however the chronology of this episode goes, you may or may not be spoiled by that.
Yeah, what if you started listening halfway through, you mean?
Yes. Main event number 1. So I drew a little image here. So I couldn't remember who was who. The thumb was the WWE champion because he looked a lot like Brock Lesnar.
It's a drawing of a hand.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh, you should probably point that out because it might not make sense otherwise. So the forefinger is John Cena because he's obviously the guy that's like, I'm the forefinger. I'm the guy that's always going to be the guy. And the middle finger is Seth Rollins.
Right.
Seth Rollins did not win this match. My prediction that Seth Rollins would have the Money in the Bank, get the world title, and also win the Royal Rumble, that prediction did not come true.
But anyway, the only reason this even came up is because we thought Brock Lesnar with his belt, it looks like he's wearing a ring, and he looks like a big thumb.
Yeah, he was like a giant thumb man.
Just want to make sure that whole thing is clear.
So, on the picture of the hand that I drew, Brock Lesnar is represented by the thumb that I drew on the hand.
J&J Security can be the 2 leftover fingers that you don't need.
That's true. I think that from now on, if you get the Money in the Bank championship, which is a championship, you should get J&J Security with you.
Yeah. They just stay inside and let them out.
So we're already halfway through this match. John Cena versus Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Basically what happens is Brock Lesnar just fucking starts doing German suplexes to everybody. Everybody in the entire ring. And he kind of burns himself out. And we sort of painted a picture very similarly to the way that a WW2K game goes. You sort of work up your finisher by doing cheap moves, and then you do your finisher. But you gotta get your little... you're going to get a little bit of attack towards you before you get your finisher. And it sort of went on, and it was a really good match. In the middle part, you already know if you're listening to this.
Yeah, Seth Rollins was cool. I always liked him, but I like to be reminded that I like him. That was the best thing about it.
This is your reminder. Oh, I just wrote down German suplex in really big letters. Oh, yeah, 3. No, John Cena does 3 AAs.
I guess this brings us to the end, right? This is the last match before the Rumble, and then we'll be all done.
Yeah, murders Seth Rollins. He jumps off the top rope onto Lesnar on the announce table, which we all saw.
Elbow.
Yep, he does the elbow, and Lesnar wins the match. And also, we already talked about the entire Royal Rumble somehow already.
Yes, I guess that's it.
That was the first one we talked about.
I was just going to say, though, as a downer ending, like when you think of like John Cena, 10 years, everyone's bored of him, but they just keep pushing him. What if it's this? What if they're right about Reigns? What if it doesn't matter that everyone hates him and everyone boos as long as kids buy his merchandise? What if this works?
Can I still list the Royal Rumble entrance at least? I took note of it. I'm going to do it. It's happening right now. Mm-hmm. Miz, K-Quick, Bubba Ray, Luke Harper.
This isn't going as well as I'd hoped.
Curse Axel, then Eric Rowan takes his place.
Okay, I got it. Boogie Nights, Sin Cara, Zach Wilder, D-Bran, Fall Grost, Tygon Cog, Stardust, Diamond Dallas Page, Rusev, also Fandango. Oh, that's who he eliminated. Goldust, Kofi, Adam Rose, Road Dogg, Rias, Big E, Mizdow, Rusev. No Rusev, he wasn't actually eliminated there. Swagger, that's where we were talking about.
Yeah.
Ryback, Kane, Dean Ambrose, Titus O'Neil,
Titus O'Neil.
26.
The T.O.
BNB, Bad News Barrett, Cesaro,
Barrett came in pretty late.
Big Show, Ziggler.
Oh my god.
Big show.
Seriously? Oh, sorry. That's horrible, man.
So based on that reaction, that's if you just want to run down those numbers as like a single thing as well.
Yeah.
That's a horrible card.
Yeah, so that's a pretty rough pay-per-view. So I guess, but that's the only time you'll probably ever hear a crowd chant, "We want Rusev." So we'll always remember that.
No, I'll always start with, "We want Rusev champion."
And Rusev got it. Me to get to come out and be like, I'm going to do this end of the match schmoz.
That'd be great if Rusev came out and they're like, "You still got it."
All right, so we're on iTunes, KeithCourage.com. Yeah, let's wrap this up and say goodbye to people because it's late.
Good night.